Hi, my name is Mark Anthony DuBois Jr. I was born July 4th, 1986. Today, I want to say thank you for tuning in. Today, we'll talk about another book. The book is called Your Dog is Your Mirror by Kevin Behan. I'm sorry, just last names be jamming me up. The book looks like that, the one on my Audible at least. And this book here, this book is one that, depending on what you're looking for, is what you're going to find from it. And what I was looking for was that concept. Do the dogs mirror us as humans? Because I was looking for it in the sense of he went a completely different direction than I was anticipating. But it's one book that is like, I like it a lot because it's the one that I personally think still that has put more thought in me about just looking at my dogs than any other book that I've read. Because it made me understand the concepts of why the dogs are mirroring what it is that they're mirroring. It's because they're, I'll say, trying to get something, but they enjoy it because it's like the concept of when the dog is trying to get the rabbit or trying to get anything that they're trying to eat. They want to become it. This is why the dogs are, like, for the most part, rolling in poop and stuff, rolling in deer poop, because they're trying to mask themselves so they can get close to it. And they get close to it. You know, in our perception, this is the problem that I think a lot of us struggle with, is our perception. We think of like the dog killing a deer. That's savage. That's crazy. But that's the way it's intended. That's how it's supposed to be. That's natural. That's normal. That's real life. Real life is your dog kills the rabbit in your backyard, and you're like, oh my goodness, my dog is there's something wrong with him. No, that's what your dog is supposed to do. That's what they are designed. That's just who they are inside. And this book really let me see, like, the concept of how when the dog is trying to get what it enjoys, straight up, it likes the food, it likes to chase, it likes to hunt, it likes to do all these things. And depending on what kind of dog you have today, we're kind of breeding that away, so their drive isn't as intense anymore. But it's still in there. We're not just gonna take a dog one day and just have no drive behind it at all. Because I thought about that with my parent. He's like, he doesn't chase, but get a bunny out. This boy will go chase that bunny. He still has, even though for thousands of years we've been creating these dogs that have no prey drive behind them, there's still something in every single one. And it's something that they want, that they like, that they enjoy. So what do they do with the things that they want, they like, they enjoy? They start to act like it so that they can get close to it. So again, your dog isn't going to, like, mirror you because it's trying to eat you, but it wants to mirror us because it likes us. When your dog really likes you a lot, it's like it starts to become you. It starts to do the same as you. It starts to act the same as you. It starts to like the same as you. It starts to just interact the same as you. It starts to just want to become you as much as absolutely possible because it's what it absolutely enjoys. That's the way that this book is more going towards. But I was looking at it in a different sense of trying to find more information on the dogs not having any sort of intellect behind them, that they have no choice but to mirror us because they need us to survive because they don't have their own. Where no, they have their own. And that's why it's super fascinating for some of these books to just continuously keep on reading about these dogs, because it really puts you into the Oreo. It puts you into the mindset of the dog in reality, and not just what we as humans are. We as humans, because again, we see the dog killing something, and it's just like, oh no. I mean, that's how I was in reality at first. But today, this is unfortunate. The way I look at life is just when my dogs eat chicken. So if one dies, it's not like the end of the world to me. Where someone else, it's like, I don't want to say it's. I mean, it's your pet, it's your everything. But I understand the purpose of what everything is doing out here, just being out here, just living. And the more that I understand that it's not the dog doing something bad because it killed something, but instead of knowing that that's just what it's supposed to do because that's just who it is, it allows me to see the animal for what it actually is and not try to put on it what some fake fantasy, some fake stories of my dog would never, my dog is perfect, my dog is this, my dog is so sweet. It does crazy stuff. It does crazy things. And it really, the more crazy things that I see from the dogs, and then I see it to be just, that's what's normal. That's why I see how the dogs want to be so close to us. They want to be so close that it's hard for them to even have any sort of separation. That's why even like right now, where I got my dogs back there, they're on the patio and they just have to stare at me. They're just like, "What's up, buddy? What are you about to do?" It's because they enjoy me, so they want to do everything with me. They want to be everything about me. They just start to mold into that. They want to do everything that I do because that's how I know, like, basically how my dog is excited to want to be with me. Can they do it in a sense of fear? That's the new question that I'm trying to figure out. If a dog is fearful, does that dog still want to be around you? because in most cases, just my personal that I've seen just in public, a scared dog doesn't want to be nowhere near its owner. It's trying to run away. That's the scary part of, like I said, reactive dog right now, is they're doing that to try to get the heck away from you in reality, because they ran off and the police pulled and they weren't able to get space, basically running away from you. Now they're stuck on that leash. Now they're going to try to go forward to push the threat away because they are trying to get away. You're not able to bring that dog the I guess I could say that safety sense that it should want to be you. It should be around you. It's like danger, danger, what's going on? So just my opinion, a dog that is in fear doesn't want to mirror us. It wants to try to do everything it can to get away from us. Such as a dog, where I guess I could say like most, in reality, it's still weird to me when I see like dogs that are like playing and being super social like that. That's new stuff, I believe, that we're doing as humans. But a dog to the dog in the wild, they're kind of like, you're going to join the group. If you're not going to join the group, just stay over there. I don't want to be around you. They're on different paths. They're just doing what they're doing. You're like, you stay over here, I stay over here. We're fine. Everything is going to be okay. They're not, for the most part, just like, let's band. If they're trying to band together and everybody's fighting, that's where the conflicts keep happening. And some cases, some scenarios, the dogs don't have a choice, that they have to do that for survival. And that's a whole nother book for a whole nother day. But the concept of where the whole alpha stuff has to come from. But in the family unit, I don't need to be that to my dog. I don't need to dominate and rule and have dominion over my dog. All I have to do is just show it and be kind to the dog straight up. And the dog is going to want to mirror me, want to see me, want to be me, want to learn everything about me. It's going to study everything I am. When I just look at that dog in a kind, compassionate way, just say, hey, buddy, what are we going to do? What's going on right now? And that dog just wants to model me. That's why it's weird to me that each of my dogs do have their own themselves. But when I look at each one individual and I just spend time with just one dog, I see the things where it's trying to be like me. It tries to do everything in its power to like look up at me and just say, hey, I did good, right? Like that's what you're looking for, right? And that's where sometimes to some of these dogs it gets complicated, like a border collie and a lot of shepherds, but especially my border collie. He's on this, I know what we're going to do. And in my mind, like especially just out here with my dog personally, I let him go ahead and run with that sometimes. Sometimes, not all the time. Because he's like, I know we're going to go there because this is the time that we do this. So he's like, I'm just going to open the gate. I'm just going to go. I'm going to meet you there. And sometimes I'm like, man, dude, like you being pushy right now. But he's just, I know what we're going to do. So let me go ahead and do this. And then when he gets there, he stops. He always looks at me. He's like, and he's like, I did good, right? I did good. And he's trying to just please as much as absolutely possible because he knows what we're going to do, because he's studying everything that's going on with me. And so some people that's hard, because you're like, no, don't rush it. Just slow down. Just slow down. Just stay with me. Just stay with me. And then that kind of gets a little conflict if you're trying to. That's the part where if you're giving a dog too much attitude in that sense, that's where it's going to have to give you some pushback in reality. Because I'll say attitude in the way of like trying to forcefully do something, apply hands or pressure or something onto that dog to tell it not to do. You're telling the dog not to please you. That's where you got to be able to slow down some and just look at that dog and just say, hey, I got this. Just wait for me. We're going to go do this together. That's that patience that has to come in. That's that extreme level of patience that has to come in, because some of these dogs are just fast and some of these dogs are slow. My Pyrenees, I'm like, I'm about to go. I want you to go over here for now. And he laying down and he give me that eye like, I know what we're going to do. And then he's like, give me like 5 more minutes laying here and then I'll get up and I'll go over there. Because there's times that I just leave him somewhere and then I come back and he's where I wanted him to be. It just took him a little extra time to just get to that point of like, I'm finally here. And then he's like, oh, this is what you want. I know what you want. I know what you're looking for. They want to do everything that we're asking for from them. In my opinion, when you put them in, all I can say is in a safe environment, a patient environment. I don't want to use the word loving because that's not correct. But an environment that they could just relax and feel comfortable and feel confident in. If you're going to give them that environment everywhere, that dog is going to do everything that you are asking from them. That's why you don't have to, this is the stuff with, I'm sorry, I got to make videos in a different spot. These dogs, they just do funny stuff, man. They're just funny. But that's why the concept of if your dog is scared of being outside or being in places, you grab the dog, you put the leash on the dog, you hang out, and you allow the dog to just be able to go through it and go through it and go through it and go through it so that they can finally see that environment is safe. It's calm. There's nothing to be scared about here. And then you start doing that more and more and more places to let that dog know. When that dog feels confident, when that dog feels safe and secure, you're not going to have issues with this dog. You're going to be able to call the dog off from anything that you need to call him off from. You're going to be able to ask the dog to go anytime that you need to ask the dog to go. That's because the dogs want to do everything they can to just start to become like us. And that's how they hunt. That's how they do what they do. They model what they want. So if they want to be with you, they're going to model to be with you. It's something that for whatever reason, it's like I see just lots of folks just getting challenged real hard right now with your dogs, because your dog is like, that's the part where I want to question. With the dog is like modeling the negative sides of us as opposed to the positive sides of us. Every single person on this planet has some good and some bad. I don't want to use the word bad. Has some good, has some evil in there. Every single person does. And some of these dogs are latching onto the evil side of us. And that's why we see the destructiveness that they have, the just chaos that's coming out of them, as opposed to latching onto the good part of you, the part of you that's patient and calm and relaxed and chill and just, I don't want to use slow to anger, but just no anger at all. Like you have no anger at all. Like these dogs are gonna, you're going to be the Messiah to these animals. And that good side of you, what I want to say, all those characteristics. But if the dog starts to catch on to the anxious, to frustration, to anger, to the agony, to depression, to all these things, that's where the dogs, in my opinion, this is stuff that I'm trying to find more and more books. And the more I keep speaking out loud, as opposed to just thinking, the more I'm able to find what it is that I'm looking for. I realize that just thinking just does, you gotta like do. When you do stuff comes from it. But if you're just like sitting down thinking and wishing and praying, like nothing comes from it. Straight up. You got to get up and you got to put stuff in. That's why, for one, I really like making videos, because it allows me to keep on finding more and more and more information, because I can say something. Because I believe that that's where a lot of people today are unfortunately struggling with these dogs. They're mirroring the bad side of you as opposed to the good side of you. That's why you got to have, they don't want to, straight up. This straight up. If you need to, excuse me, you need to bribe your dog or coerce your dog or force your dog to be with you, your dog don't want to be with you. Straight up. It doesn't want to be there. And someone's going to say, oh, it needs training. That's why it doesn't know. No, your dog simply just doesn't want to be with you if you have to do anything extra to force it to try to be with you. If every single time you're trying to get in from the backyard, you got to throw a cookie out to be able to get that dog to come into the house, your dog doesn't want to be around you. So that's like the start of what do we need to work on now, instead of like doubling down into said more training on the dog. The dog simply doesn't want to be with you. And you need to ask, why doesn't your dog want to be with you? Because your dog should want to be with you. Your dog should want to be everywhere you are. Your dog should be want to almost like smothering you in a way that it's a little inappropriate at times, where you're like, you're going to stay over there. That's what I do today at this moment with mine, because I'm like, y'all just stay over there. Y'all, there's times of the day that I'm just like, I'm inside, you're outside. I'm outside, you're inside. We're not all on top of each other all the time. And I have to like add that in there, because if it was up to them, they would want to be right by me all the time. And even if I bring them out here, they're moving. But once I sit down and they get their little 5-minute walkout, they just come and they just lay down. Or if I'm making video, you see that they move, because I purposely like push them away. Like, get the heck off me right now. I have to do that sometimes, of like say, hey, get away right now. Let me just do what I got to do so that I could handle my business. But these dogs are just, they smother me. They're just like, they want to be near me. They want to be next to me. They want to listen to pretty much anything that I'm saying to them. And they enjoy to want to do that. And I believe that's because of a change for me personally of becoming more of what I want, more calm, less frustrated, less anxious, less tired even, less just hounding them in a way that they weren't really wanting yet. Like they have to come to me. I can't go to them. When they come to me, that's them saying, I made a decision that I want you, not me just forcing them to just, you don't have no other choice. Again, because that's why most cases, a lot of folks, you're struggling with your dog, because it's you have to do something to get it to listen to you, as opposed to just being who you are. And that's where, for me, I see when the dog is attaching to the good side of us, the dogs are thriving. They are just living an amazing, absolute amazing life. It's just sometimes some people, you look out and you see what someone else is doing, and you just start to ask. You're just like, what the heck is going on? Like, how do they have that? And I've been working so hard at doing all this and all this and all this and all this, and they have it. And that's parts where it's like, it's not a matter of training the animal. It's a matter of allowing the dog to mirror who you are, and the dog wanting to be there because it absolutely enjoys you. It wants nothing but you. And that's why a lot of these books are fascinating to just get one to think. want to think more on like what these dogs actually truly represent, as opposed to what you may have thought about them. I had all kinds of thoughts of dogs until I really started working with them. I got my first one, I'll say Johnny, when I like the first one that I was working with. I'm saying this is the curriculum that we're doing to work with. The first dog that I got, I had all kinds of ideas of what that dog was in my face right then and there. In my opinion, at that moment, I saw a super hyper jumping dog. It's a big dog. And this dude could jump up over your head. I mean, the dude could jump a 6-foot fence. It's impressive. it's impressive. This dude was jumping in this kennel, going absolutely wild. I just looked at that dog and I was like, that's a dumb, stupid dog. Like, what? I just got to strangle it a little bit and he'll be okay. Because that was our first leashes we used. It was those slip leashes. I just strangle him a little bit and he just, you'll sit there. And he just looked good. And I was like, that's it. That's the end of it. And then I had started to realize, because that's the dog that has pushed me into dog training stuff. And really, that's the dog that is still pushing me today of finding more and more about dogs. Because when I was working with him, he looked good. He looked really good. My goodness, this dude got the best scores on all the tests. His obedience was perfect. Like, I would barely miss a point on any off-leash, advanced obedience stuff. He's perfect. I mean, the dog looked good. But as soon as I would take that leash off, first time I brought him out here, and I took that leash off, that dog wanted nothing to do with me. It was a nightmare to get this dog to come around me. And at that time, I was dabbling with e-collar stuff, and he's the first one that I really put that thing on. It was like, we got to do some training. So I got some books and info on e-collar training. I slapped that on him, and I realized, like, the dog doesn't want to be anywhere near me. Why doesn't this dog want to? But on leash, obedience, Johnny heel, Johnny sit, Johnny down, Johnny speak, Johnny stand, Johnny, what else can this Johnny do? Johnny wave, Johnny, I don't know, so many little words. I could say all those words, and that dude was on a flash. Like, it was like militarized. I don't know if that's a word or not. Like, but dude was just on it. So I thought, like, this dog really likes me because he's listening to every word that I'm saying. But then when I started to realize, when I gave him that, you're here now. He wants nothing to do with me in the house. He was like on the opposite side. This dude would be down the hallway. I don't know how many feet I would say. 15, 20, 30 feet down the hallway, way by the bathroom, laying over there. And I would go walk over there next to him, and he would just give me this look like, what do you want now? And hey, Johnny, hey, Shadow. Some of my dogs that's the part. Johnny is my main show, my main thing. He think he's tough, but he got to challenge all the dogs. I got Shadow in a place that he shouldn't be right now, but it's still fascinating that my dogs are sitting here giving each other attitude. And I could just say a word and it just, Johnny, get down. I could just say a word from anywhere and it just, everything just stops. Everything. Shadow, get off him. Johnny, get down. And everything is just yep, get down. I see you. And everything just stops in an instant. That's the part, especially with that dog right there. With that snap, it's fascinating to see how everything just happens in life. I wish y'all could have seen what they were just having their little jumping on each other and trying to chew on each other's necks like dogs do. But he's the one that just, he's like, 2 years ago, man, I would have had to go over there and lock, and they would have been fighting, just a ridiculous fight. A fight that goes on that, again, why I know how to do a lot to help folks with dogs fighting in the home, because I have had dogs, and I still have little tiffs. Like right there, they had a little, like, they got this little tension to them that's just in them. But why they are not going to push it any further? Because of this guy right here. And not because of thing of force that I'm going to, like, or else you. They just do it because just the only thing I can say is respect what I've been doing with them. And the biggest thing is I've noticed that when I started to, this is why I say again, of the dog attaching to your negative or your positive side. My Johnny was attached to my negative side of or else type stuff. You better for this, you better for that. You don't get a choice, and that's just what it is. That's how things are going to happen. But then I realized he didn't want to be nowhere near me. I had to keep using more and more of that said force to keep him to get closer and closer to me, to want to even just stay with me. Trying to get him to not bark at a dog. It had to come down to some sort of force. And it doesn't come down, this is the thing that I think a lot of folks are getting struggled with. It doesn't come down to training. You don't need to train the dog to not do stuff. You need to allow the dog to want to be with you because of you, wants to be around you for you. You want to bring safety to them because of you. That's what he still struggles a little bit with. He's not 100%. I mean, I've had this dog now coming on this is third year now? This is fourth year now. My goodness. Fourth year now. And I'm still like trying to get him because of all I can say is straight up the amount of pressure that I put on that dog in that dog school. The amount that I did with that dog. And then not only just that, but when I got him here, and then because he was running away, the amount of pressure that I put onto that dog, like it's gonna take 3 to 4 years to turn that around. It's been a year now since I've really let off of him, and he's much, much better today, but it's gonna take more time. Whereas the other dogs, they all are attached. They want to be with me. Him, he's suspicious of like, dude, you was rough on me. You were hard on me. I don't know about you still. I'm not 100% about you still. Because even just still a year ago, I was hard on the dog, really hard on him. And so now he's starting to just calm down. He's starting to just relax down. He's starting to just start to want to be here as opposed to being forced to be here. And that takes, in my opinion, just understanding more of what's going on with you. What are you looking for? What are you putting out there? Are you frustrated? Are you angry? Are you mad? Are you depressed? Are you anxious? Are you all these things? And if you are, start to work upon that with yourself as opposed to worrying about, let me train this dog. Train and do you. Work on you so that the dog wants to be with you. Don't force it to be with you. Make it want to be with you. Not make it, but get it to want to be with you because of who you are, because of what you're all about, because you're so slow to frustration. And if anything, you just get irritated and you just like, I'm going to take a pause right quick and I'm going to walk away. Get new habits to be able to make things want to be around you. You want them to want to be with you, not forced to. That's where you're going to have the dog that you see out in public. It looks good. It's going to be good at the house as well, the same way. It's going to be just good everywhere that you go because it wants to be there with you. It absolutely enjoys you. And that's why the dogs, they're mirroring us because they want us. They're mirroring the sides that you also want, as opposed to mirroring the negative sides of us that you don't want, that you have to force. That's the control aspect. That's the evil side of us is control. It's like you better or else. You don't get a choice or else. Why should I have to do that? Because I'm telling you, because I said so, or else. That's the control side of us. We got to let that control side go and allow things to want to be with us because they enjoy it, not because you're forcing them to. Thank you. I think I still don't understand it, but I get it. Why is it that we keep having more and more and more dogs? Part of it for me is in the sense of you didn't quite get what you wanted out of the first one, so you needed a second one. You didn't quite get what you wanted out of the second one, so you got the third one. And in most cases, unfortunately, you got 3 dogs that don't that don't want to be around you. You got 4 dogs that don't want to be around you. You got 8 dogs that don't want to be around you. As opposed to doing the hard work on yourself to realize you don't need to control things. You could just allow stuff to want to be there because it wants to. Now, I think that is the most challenging thing for most all of us as human beings right now today, especially with how life is just being pushed and pressured upon us, is you have to control. You have to obey. As opposed to just, no, you don't have to do none of that. You could just relax and just allow things to come and allow things to happen naturally. That's what's weird to me about dog training. And then this is the part with me is also with like human to human relationships. You shouldn't have to make it work. It should work. You shouldn't have to force it to work. It should work. You shouldn't have to train it to work. It should work. That's how these lands are. The more that you're trying to force something to happen, it's not going to happen. You're living in agony, and you're going to continue to keep on living under that force forever. I don't know. It's just crazy. It's crazy because it's like other topics that I really like listening and paying attention to, but like the stuff with like girls and guys that are cheating on each other. It's like you're trying to force them not to do that. What do you think they're going to do? They're going to do it. As opposed to just saying, if you do it, you do it. And I'm just not going to deal with that. I'm going to go over there instead. But if you do it, go ahead, buddy. You can do whatever the heck you want to do. that person is going to now want to get drawn to you because you let all that go. And that's the exact way that the dogs work. The more that you just let it go, I know you're going to go chase something. You let them do what they want to do, what they need to do. Or in that sense, it's different. Someone's cheating on you, that's a little toxic. But for a dog to go chase something, that's not toxic. It's just a dog doing what the dog needs to do. And you just let them do that. You give them the outlet to be able to do such a thing. Then the dog's going to want to be with you because of just you. Not because you're like, no, you're forcing everything down. The dog's not going to want to be nowhere near you. I was under the assumption that the more obedient my dog was, the better it would be. And then I realized real quick, the more obedient my dog was, the worse it actually was to just hang out with on a day-to-day. Yes, I could put the show on to make me feel good. I could do all the pretty things to make me feel good because of how people are looking at me. But actually being good, the more my dogs obeyed me with just because the worst, I'm telling you, the way worse these dogs are and have been in my life. The more that I tell them, do you want to be here? Straight up. That's how I say to all my dogs at this moment now. That's why I just open the gate up and I just, whatever. If you want to be here, you stay here. If you don't, just go. Just leave. Just leave. Just go ahead. Go find someone else that's going to give you what you think that you need. And when I started to put that upon the dogs, I started to see everything start to relax down in the household. Now I'm not worried, nervous. I'm not worried about the dog running out of the van and jumping and going away. No, they just stay because they're like, this is where I want to be. I'm like, I appreciate that, guys. Take the control away. And the dog is going to want to do everything for you.